Let's see if I can adjust this to my particular movement pattern when I'm talking. So I'm Officer Sid Santos. I'm the Crime Prevention Officer for the Gold Hill Division, which is everything west of Union, everything south of Fillmore. So the city's broken up into 4 divisions. So I have 3 counterparts that do a very similar job to what I do. A lot of public education, neighborhood watch is our primary role. I've been with CSPD for 20 years, a few years in patrol. I was a community policing officer, school resource officer. I was a motorcycle officer, so hopefully none of you guys got tickets for yeah. Oh, so yeah. And then I've been in this particular job for about 6 years now, just teaching these types of class to different groups like this. So this class right here, personal safety. You know, how can you protect yourself? And this is generalized. It's not just specifically about this location. We've already discussed concerns about this location, this area. And if you have questions about that, feel free to ask me. All right. So what does a criminal look like? One of them, all of them? I don't know. So could you say just by looking at me that I am not a criminal? No. We've arrested police officers for things that they've done illegally. Some have gotten fired for it. Some have gotten tickets for it. Some have gone to prison for it. I've worked with people who had one of these things and are sitting in prison right now. And those look like the worst of criminals there. Okay, so the drug user, alcoholic, person in need of money, misguided juvenile, mentally ill, are those our criminals? Are those our only criminals? Who knows? Who can tell? I can tell you this. So I just put my daughter on my car insurance, so I'm this person right here. But I'm not going to commit a crime to get money to pay for her for car insurance. I knew it was going to be painful. I just didn't realize how painful that was going to be. All right. And this looks about like the car that I drove in college right there. So what kind of security measures do you have for yourself, for your home, for your car? What's important? What are you willing to spend for the value of your items, and what are you willing to do to protect yourself? Okay, so while you're in your vehicle, where are you going? Are you aware of your surroundings? So when you're getting out of your car, say you pull into this parking lot at 6 p.m. in January. Is that different than pulling in 6 p.m. right now? Okay, yes, very different. Are you paying attention to what's going on around you? So if you realize that it's dark and you're looking, oh, something bad could be happening, that's good. But could something bad happen at 6 o'clock in July? Yes. Are you aware of who's around you? In the wintertime, do you guys have pretty good lighting out here?
Yes, we do.
We're here. Okay. And then you park in this lot out here to the east of the building? Yes? No?
Yes.
Oh, west. Okay. So anywhere that you're at, be aware of that. So when you go to grocery stores, the mall, anything like that in the winter and it's dark out, which location would be preferable to park at? I always park where it's lit. And one of the reasons is not only for my personal safety, but once I walk away, what's a criminal more likely to target? Something that is visible or something that is not? Remember where your car is parked. And I use this thing right here, especially when I'm in areas that I'm not familiar with. So I go to DIA, I'm somewhat familiar with that location, but I am not going to remember that I'm on 2 East Elk, row 32. I'm not going to remember that. So for me, what I do is I actually use my smartphone. I take a picture of the sign so that when I'm inside, I go, oh, okay, that's the lot, and it's okay. I have to go down the elevator or escalator, and then I'll get out there. Downtown, we frequently get calls for motor vehicle thefts immediately after a special event. So, we have these big events in downtown Colorado Springs. And somebody will say, yeah, I parked at 2 blocks from here, 3 blocks over, and when I went back, my car was gone. Okay. When they actually parked 3 blocks up and 2 blocks over. All right. So if you can't remember, it's not going to be a location that you're very familiar with. Try to make some kind of, whether it's a note or if you take a picture with your phone so you remember where you're at. Because, of course, if a criminal is watching what you're doing, if you're walking around like this and you're looking, do they think that they can sneak up on you? Or if you're doing something like this, I don't. All right. Who is a criminal going to target quicker? The person who looks like they're not paying attention. Somebody that you're not looking them, you're not going to be able to identify who they are because you're trying to pay attention to other things around you. Inside your car, don't leave your home address, your personal information inside the car. One of the things that we have, so you have a registration card, you can actually get 2 copies of it. One has your home address and one does not. All right, the one without your home address is supposed to go in there. Hopefully your insurance company doesn't give you a card with your home address on it. If they do, keep it in your wallet, your purse, or like myself, I keep a digital copy on my phone, so hopefully my phone doesn't die. But I have multiple chargers so that it's always charged up. When you go to the oil place, don't put those inside the car. Because here's the thing, if I'm a criminal and you're here, and say you work here, how long do most people work? 8 hours? If they're part-time, 4 hours. All right, I see you pull up. I decide I'm going to break into your car. I get into your car. I get your home address. Now, I know there's a location that's likely to not have anybody in it for the next 4 to 8 hours. So keeping your information out of there can help protect you from that. And then, of course, you can take your garage door opener out, too. We've actually had cases where somebody got the address, they got the garage door opener, they drove to the place, they opened the garage, they walked right on in, took a bunch of stuff out, and that was the end of that right there.
I mean, even if you're in your own driveway, I ask people to take the garage door in
Yes.
and out of cars parked in the driveway.
Yes, please don't leave your garage door opener in the car. Don't leave spare keys to the car inside the car. We had, I think, in 2016, 400 cars stolen with keys inside the car. So the car was unlocked and there was a key inside the car. For whatever reason that might have been. So on top of that, what we ask is, as well is, just in case you forgot, you left your garage door opener in the car in the driveway, is to actually keep that inner door inside your house locked as well. Treat it as if it's a exterior door. Would you leave your front door just unlocked all day or all night long? No. You go in the garage and you hit the button. How many people have had it where an hour later they go open their garage door and they go, oh wait, the big garage door is still open. I pressed the button. Something fell in the line, whatever it is. The light hit it at just the right angle and it didn't close all the way. So now, not only do they have access into your garage, but now they also have access into your home while you're there. Keeping hands free at all times. Keeping your keys in your hand. Of course, I don't have a key fob. I don't rate high enough to get one of those on my car. I drive a '97 Chevy Lumina. That's the key to my car right there. But how quickly can I get into my car? Or if my hands are full and I'm trying to, okay, let me get this, and okay, let me try to figure out how long is that taking me, and where is my attention at right there. Most people have a key fob. If you have the key fob, have it ready, and know that if you press the button once, typically most cars, it'll open the driver door. If you press it twice, it unlocks all of them. So if you're even slightly unsure about your surroundings, what's going on around you, just press it one time. You can get into the driver's door. Somebody can't be standing on the other side and just open the door while you're pressing that button. So at the end of the day, say everybody's leaving here at 6 p.m. in the middle of winter, it's always good to go out in pairs or groups, or ask for somebody to come along with you. So, and it's always, I know it's hard because sometimes there's people who don't leave until 9:30, 10 o'clock at night because they're doing something, whatever that is. If you are leaving on your own, be very aware of what's going on around you. And consider even calling somebody up, and whether you're on the phone with them, say, hey, I'm walking out to my car right now. So if something happens, you know that something's going on. Or minimally call them and say, yeah, I'm going to my car right now. So if you don't call them back when you get to the car, something may have happened. Asking for security escort, or even grocery stores, they'll ask you, do you need help with your groceries? Okay, I've had this much stuff before. I'm a pretty big guy. I can handle quite a bit of things. But they'll ask me, do you need any help with your groceries? No, I'm fine. All right. But even if it's just this, and I feel uncomfortable going to my car, it's dark, there's somebody just unusual outside, you say, yes, please, if I could have somebody. So your 16-year-old bagger that's this tall is probably not going to fight off somebody. But most criminals, when we talk to them, one of the biggest things they say to us is, we do stuff in places where we don't think people are going to see us. We don't want witnesses to what we're doing. So if they're after somebody, if there's another person, a witness, they're less likely to do it. So if you ask, yeah, I'll have that, the help, or if you're at some place like a mall, they will walk to the car with you.
Now, what about the 16-year-old pagger that has to walk back to the grocery store by themselves? I feel like I have to follow them in my car to make sure they got there safely, or if something happened, they would feel guilty to the.
Well, and so what I would imagine, and maybe I'm incorrect, is most of the criminals, if they're targeting somebody who they think has something of value on them. So you inside of a car with your purse or your wallet and those types of things, versus an employee of the location that literally they have nothing of value on them at that point in time. They don't have the car to steal. So if they can get into the car and steal the car, steal your stuff, or take you somewhere. All right, so trying to get into your car as quickly as you can. If somebody's too close, or if you feel that there's something just a little bit off, not to go near your car. And then you also have the panic alarms on cars. With that, I don't know how many people pay attention to the car alarms. Probably not. It could discourage maybe a less experienced criminal, somebody who's not accustomed to those kind of things. But there's some other safety things that we can talk about as well. Again, when you're driving, just something to think about. If your car breaks down, try not to stop on a curve. Very dangerous. We've had accidents where cars have been hit at high rates of speed. And, of course, if you're opening the driver's door out into the roadway, it becomes even more dangerous. Put emergency flashers on, raise your hood. Nowadays, it's easy to just also make a phone call. I need somebody to come in and help me out. Pull all the way off the road so your car's not in the road, and then lock your doors and roll them windows up if you can. Of course, in the middle of summer, maybe this summer with the rain, and that's a good thing, but you might not be able to do that. If you get pulled over by us, please stay in your car. Please do not get out and start walking back towards us. That is not a normal behavior. That is something that gets us a little alarmed because we know that there's people who will come out of their cars and attack us, and that's the first thing that starts rolling in our head. So if you can, just stay in your car. We will approach you. You can actually just lower your window down a little bit, whatever you feel, especially if you think it seems unusual. Like I said, if there's a red Chevy Lumina with most of its paint gone, with little flashers in the front, that's kind of suspicious. I'm not going to pull a car over with mine. I do know our SWAT officers have pulled cars over, but it's a black Durango with tinted out windows. That's a little suspicious too. So if you want to leave the window down a little bit, not all the way, so you can ask, and you can always ask us for identification. If guys are in their black BDUs without clear things on themselves, or the standard blue uniform, most of us will carry the flat badge, and this is our identification card. So if I show you that it's more likely that I'm a police officer than not. Of course, these get lost as well. It always helps if you know some information, so call our Springs Police Department. And it actually says who the chief is on the bottom. Anybody know who our chief is?
Carrie.
Pete Carey. All right, so if it says Chief Velez, it's probably expired. It's not good anymore. All right, so it'll say Chief Peter Carey until the point he until the next chief is sworn in. Sometimes we have interims, and we'll keep the same ones for a while. Going into a location where it's, if you think it's suspicious, going into a place that's well occupied, so something like a grocery store, gas station, something like that. If you know where the closest police station is, and then you can go to those. All of our police stations are open 24 hours a day. I would say don't go to fire stations. If there's an alarm and the fire crew has to go out, the building could be empty, completely empty. So when that crew goes out, or if it's a double crew, if they both go out, then there's nobody there. All police stations have somebody in them, at least one uniformed officer, always.
So quick question on that, you're gonna make that decision as most likely as a female driver, it's 11 o'clock at night, and let's say I'm between, Northgate and Baptist Road. So, I've got at least 3 miles of driving before I can get to one of the gas stations, one of the King Soopers off Baptist. What is an officer gonna do behind me during that time? They want you to pull over right away.
Right. Well, and so we perceive things as suspicious based on. So if you don't stop right away, that's suspicious. But what is the circumstances? I'm in a marked police car with all the markings on it. It has the blue and red lights on the top, more clearly identifiable. So the longer it takes you to stop, the more suspicious it is for me. And I don't work for State Patrol, so I'm not out in those big open areas. I work inside the city of Colorado Springs, so there's always something within 2 or 3 blocks, even at 2 o'clock in the morning. There's gas stations, there's restaurants, things like that. So you have to decide, does it look so suspicious, or could you call that agency? So you're in El Paso County still? So El Paso County Sheriff's Office, do you know their phone number?
Call 911.
Well, the thing is the 911 comes into our call center anywhere in El Paso County. So it'll take a while for them to get through there. And really, 911 is for an emergency. So it would be really difficult for us if every time we had that, try to pull somebody over, that they called 911. So something to think about is when should you do that? So again, red Chevy Lumina with 2 little lights in the bottom. All right, what am I going to do to you, or as a police officer?
Well, they've had incidents in that area in the past, and it's at night, and it's like a deer in the headlight because those neon flashing lights almost disable you from being able to see colors, except for the lights and even the type of car that it's on, because they're so bright. So you can't tell when you're looking in your rearview mirror necessarily what type of car has just turned its lights on behind you. So if you're not comfortable, and you're worried because there's been recent reports of issues in the area with people impersonating an officer.
Right. So, and this is what I'll tell you, because I'm one police officer within one police agency, so I can only tell you generals. So here's the thing. So you drive slowly, and say it is 3 miles, and you pull over into a grocery store, and then you roll your window down and say, there has been these things occurring. So what's going to happen? Well, you're going to get a ticket, but you're probably going to get a ticket anyway, right? Well, when I was a motorcycle officer, you would have gotten a ticket no matter what. But could I arrest you for eluding? So you were going a reasonable speed, so you're going up the interstate, you slow down to 55 or whatever that speed is, all right? You're not swerving, you're not trying to elude me, and you pull in there, and then the thing you say is, there's been a history of these things, I was in fear for my safety. All right. Could you get charged with eluding? Absolutely could. Would you have to go to court? Yes, you would. Could you explain what you did and why you did it? All right. That's what's more important at that point in time. Is it your safety or your fear of getting arrested? And I can't make that decision for you. I've been pulled over. It's been a long time. I'm old enough to not speed anymore. But if I felt uncomfortable, I'd roll my window down, and I've had people do that where it's just this, and it was clear. I'm standing in a blue uniform with a badge, and I have the helmet with the badge on the top, and I've had them do that. So it's going to be a matter of circumstances, how you explain why and what you did, and go from there. But I can't say what every agency is going to do. And here, like I said, in Colorado Springs, it's going to be easy enough because we're so close to every intersection there.
I have a question. You said, police cars are clearly marked, however, I was driving last week and saw an unmarked police car.
Mm-hmm.
So those don't go. What is the parameters of unmarked police cars?
So ours, what they'll do is they'll have the lights in the front. They'll have, we have, well, I don't know if the new ones actually have those. I had one where it was on my sun visor and it just popped down. Some of them will have the bar, and it really depends. The biggest thing for us is that the red and blue. And if you have a question, again, if you pull off the side of the road, just don't open your window all the way. Make sure your doors are locked. And then once you see the person approach you, make sure that they are clearly identifiable. I can put my badge and my card up against your window for you to see. And there's a lot of badges out there. And I would read what the badge actually says, not just look at the badge. Because I can go buy one that looks very similar to mine, but it'll say security. So you actually have to read what it says. And here, I'll even pass you out what mine looks like. And of course, every agency will be different, but it'll either say sheriff's deputy or police officer.
And so they will approach your vehicle with that prominently displayed?
They'll have something, and I've even seen it where, almost like some security people, where they'll have it on a chain hanging here. But if you have any questions, say, can I see your badge? Can I actually see your badge? Can I see your ID card?
Are they in uniform? In an unmarked car?
Most of the time we are, but I can't say that we're always in a fully clear, plain uniform. And typically speaking, our non-uniformed officers, if they want somebody pulled over, they're not going to pull somebody over. They'll have a uniformed officer come up behind them and then come around and then pull. So if I think you're some major drug dealer, and I'm a narcotics officer, I'm not going to pull you over in a Jeep Wrangler. All right? I might be driving behind you in a Jeep Wrangler, which I don't think our guys have any of those, but and then we'll call for I'll keep following you till I know that there's a police car close by, and they'll do that. All right? So, and I can't tell you that will always be the situation or never be the situation, because we do things differently within our own department, and then El Paso County Sheriff's Office is going to do things differently. State Patrol is going to do something differently. All agencies do things differently. All right, so hitchhikers, again, while you're driving, if you see hitchhikers, generally speaking, I just say don't do it. All right? We transport people as police officers, but we actually pat them down to make sure that they don't have, if you want to ride with me to wherever you're going and you look like it's raining and you need to, I'm going to pat you down. I'm going to make sure you don't have any weapons for my safety, and then I'll have you sit in the back. Can you do that? No. What does somebody have? Do they have one of these underneath their jacket? And then with road rage, just stay away from people who are jerks out there. Right? I've had to drive down there. Well, I've driven to work and couldn't get off on my off ramp, and I've seen people where they just they'll try to cut in between cars and they'll do whatever they can. Me personally, at 3-4 more minutes, I can go to the next off ramp. I can come back around. I can get to work. I do that on busy mornings. That's what I do. Don't interact with these people, because you don't know what state of mind they're in. You don't know what they're willing to do. We've had incidents that have started as road rage turn into homicides. So you never know what somebody's willing to do. If they're willing to start shooting out their window at you, there are people like that. So if you can just avoid that in general, just let it go. You can, if you do start getting followed, please drive to one of our police stations. If you don't know where our stations are, we have one not too far from here, over by the Walmart. It's 955 West Moreno. So you actually have to go up the hill by the Pepper Tree Restaurant. The one downtown, which is 705 South Nevada Avenue. It's the big brick building. The Falcon Division is on Goddard Street, west of the mall, and usually you see the little blue signs. Stetson Hills is 4110 Tut Boulevard. That's kind of behind the Costco, off of Powers and Barnes? Powers and Barnes? SkySox, yeah, right across from the SkySox Stadium. And then the Sand Creek Division, which is in the area of Fountain and Academy. I don't know the address there. I've never worked there, so I don't remember that one. But it helps to know where these places are at, just in case something happens, you know where you can go. Yes, ma'am.
Is there a phone number whereby if you're not familiar with the city, is there a phone number you could call to say, hey, I do have somebody that's an aggressive driver following?
I would call 911.
That would be number one?
Yeah, somebody's been acting aggressively. They've been cutting you off, and they're following up against your car really close, and you feel that they are a threat to you. I would call 911.
Is that true as well for I had an incident where I did drive to a police station in California. I wouldn't have had any idea as to what their phone number was.
Right. Yeah. So if it's 911 is an emergency, and again, with road rage situations, what is the behavior? Is the person just pulling up next to you and giving you the finger? It's probably not an emergency. At what point do you believe that it's an emergency? At what point do you think there's a threat to you? That's when it's an emergency. So really, you have to decide when that is. Okay, theft prevention devices, some steering wheel locks. I don't see many of those anymore, but you can still buy those. Car alarms, that will dissuade the average or new car thief. Kill switches, I haven't seen since I was in high school. Kill switches are basically just a little flip switch that you can, flip hidden somewhere inside your car that is usually like a gas shutoff. So I've only seen those in older cars. Vehicle tracking devices like LoJack and OnStar, they are very effective pieces of equipment. I've arrested people using LoJack and OnStar, but they do cost. I don't know what the cost is. My truck's too old. I don't have those installed in mine. But you can purchase that and get those activated. Pretty effective pieces of equipment. All right, carjacking. We haven't had it a lot in a long time, but we've recently had a couple of them. Again, being aware of what's going on around you, being attentive. So if you're in a parking lot and somebody's approaching you quickly, gas stations, stoplights, if you need to pull away, and I always tell people, would you rather get carjacked, somebody point a gun at you, or if you had to pull through a red light safely so you don't get in a car accident, get a ticket for running a red light if the officer's like, yeah, I don't believe you. I don't believe somebody was walking up to your car and I saw you run the red light. Okay, that's a decision that you have to make. Stage accidents, so somebody hits you, especially in a darker area, wherever that is, and they're like, hey, I need you to come out here so we can talk about this. You don't have to get out of your car and talk to them about it. Just keep the window rolled down and say, yeah, I'll exchange information with you. Okay, ATM machines. Be aware of anybody who's around it, any suspicious vehicles, especially if you have an ATM machine in the middle of a parking lot and there's a big van or truck with blacked out windows real close by. I would go somewhere else and use an ATM machine somewhere else. Guard your PIN number, so when you're even if you're at the grocery store, always just have a habit of just doing something like this when you go to punch in your numbers. You know, is everybody paying attention to your numbers? No. But I've seen gas station video footage of somebody, not here in Colorado Springs, but taking something that looked just like the machine to run your credit card, pop it over the thing, and nobody noticed for a week. So video footage of the guys actually doing that, and they say a week later they found it. So you slide your card, and they're standing around, and they see you put the number in. Not only can they get the magnetized information from your card, but then they also have information on your PIN number. They can start drawing money right out of your account. Because if you use just the swipe on your card, those can be reproduced easily, and they can even be reproduced on like hotel room keys. That information can be transferred right over to that. Make sure it's well lit. If it's not well lit, there's something wrong. Because all the banks will keep the lights on those, and if they're out, something's unusual. And then look for any unusual modifications. I'm sure people think I'm weird when I go up to and I kind of tug on things to see if it's secure or not. Gas pumps, I do the same thing. And I get very suspicious when I go to a gas station and I pull on it and you see the door kind of flopping around like that. And I don't know if I want to get gas at this gas station. I might, or I'll go inside and pay that way. Make sure you don't go to a place that has, a little slot there that says "clean your card here." Okay. I've seen video of, and this was, yeah.
Cleans it right up.
Cleans it right, yeah. Cleans out your account too. I saw video footage. It was a news agency that actually put it right there on an ATM machine and had the recording to see who would do it, and person after person. Oh yeah, let me make sure that it can read well. Yeah, that's bad. Elevators. We don't have a lot of elevators here in Colorado Springs, but just be aware of who's around. I did have an incident. Well, I guess it wasn't an incident, but lady was walking to an elevator. There was a young couple standing there talking, and she presses the button. As soon as she starts to take a step towards the door, they start to walk towards the door. So she actually takes a step back, and they're like, "Oh no, go ahead, you can go in." No, I don't need the elevator right now. So they get in the elevator and they go. Was it suspicious? It seems suspicious. Were they going to do something? We don't know. Nothing happened because they went and then she went later, or she went up the stairs, or whatever she did. She just thought it was suspicious. But that's not a normal behavior for people. People do it, but that's just not a normal behavior, so be aware of those kind of things. Try not to keep your back to people, really, at any time. Public transportation, try not to hang out at a bus stop for extended periods of time. If you go use a certain bus stop, try not to make your pattern known so people know exactly when you're going to be there. When you get onto the bus, most of the buses here in Colorado Springs have cameras towards the front, so it's always good to sit in the front. And then if you're sitting in the chairs, and I don't know how our current ones are set up, but if you have a bag, keep your bag here or purse rather than setting it underneath, because what can somebody behind you do, or if they move behind you, they can reach underneath. I'm not sure what our buses, if they have that gap underneath still. Laundry room mailboxes and trash locations, whether it's here or for the trash locations or in apartments, if you live in an apartment, think about what could be going on there. I actually had a case where we were looking for a homicide suspect, and he was hiding behind a trash dumpster because he knew we were looking for him, and he was hiding behind there. But that means anybody can hide behind there. So should you be dumping your trash at 11 o'clock at night when it's dark? If you don't have a clear view of that, maybe it's better to do it first thing in the morning. Kind of like doing laundry. Some people aren't asleep at 2 o'clock in the morning, but who could be around watching what you're doing? What kind of access is there? Mailboxes, please take your mail out every evening. Please do not put mail to go out until first thing in the morning, or until the morning. People steal stuff out of mailboxes all the time, Even the community boxes, I've seen those broken into and stuff just taken out. So make sure that stuff's not left overnight, because that's typically when those mailboxes are broken into. Okay. Lighting. Criminals don't like to be seen. You know, we've interviewed criminal after criminal about why they did certain things. We don't want to be seen. We're going to go to these locations. So, if there's not a lot of light, could there be something bad? Yes. I had a young lady that I spoke to. She said that her dog started barking one night, and she went to go let her dog out. She flipped the switch, and the light didn't turn on. She said, "Oh, that seems kind of strange." And she just had this strange feeling. So she actually went back into her kitchen, got a flashlight, turned her flashlight on, and there was somebody standing in her backyard. Right. So likely what happened was they came and they twisted the bulb and was waiting for her to come out, since the dog was agitated at that point in time. Nowadays, our light bulbs tend to be, if you have the CFLs or if you have a LED light, it's not a bulb just burning out. It used to be, your outside bulb would go out, once a month or something like that. If your lights are out nowadays, that's unusual, especially if you have LED, because what are they supposed to last, 20 years or something crazy like that? So really be wary of what's going on at night. All right. So when you're walking somewhere, pay attention to what's going on. We always ask people, if you're going to go for a walk towards traffic so you can see what's going on. We do ask that if you're riding a bicycle, please ride with traffic, just so you're more predictable and drivers can understand what you're going to do better. So if you're going to take a left-hand turn, you're going to move to the left, and then you're going to turn left. Or if you're facing traffic, they're not going to expect you to cut across. Keeping your head up, and part of that is being able to see what's going on around you, because if my head's like this, am I paying attention to the criminals? Am I very confident in what I'm doing? Am I going to be able to defend myself if somebody comes after me? Try to avoid walking or running alone. Let's see, we're pretty close to the trail system right here. Middle of the day here, just north of Uinta. This was many years ago. We actually had a sexual assault right on the side of the trail. The young jogger was pulled off the trail and sexually assaulted there. I ride the trail south of town quite a bit, and thankfully whoever maintains the trail there has cut down a lot of the trees right along the side of the trail. But there was a time when it was very overgrown, and you could hide thousands of people back there and not even see them. It's getting overgrown right now. One day I was riding my bike, and there was a young lady jogging by herself with earphones in. And it made me nervous, because I thought, what could happen to this young lady that's running along the trail? I wasn't going to stop her, because I figured she doesn't know who I am, and maybe she is very well prepared for somebody to come out. So I didn't want to see how well prepared she was, but it made me feel strange. As a police officer, you've got a person jogging alone, not paying attention to her surroundings. What could happen to her? All right. And what clothing are you wearing? Are you at work? Do you come into work with high heels or clothing that would make it difficult for you to move around? Do you have the ability to or choice to come in and change your shoes or change your clothes at work, so that if you're walking, through a parking lot at night, or you're going to be going to the grocery store, you have something that you have better, you have the better ability to move around. I can guarantee you, if I had to wear high heels and a tight skirt, I probably would not move very fast. I don't know. Never tried it, so maybe I should, so I have a better feeling for that.
We can film it for you so that you can have really good feedback.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be all over YouTube. Something, and not just lanyards, but anything that you have on you. What could somebody grab and control you with if you have that on? We tell businesses, if you're going to have employees wear lanyards, or if you're going to hand lanyards out, have them so that they have the ones that have the little break off. So it pulls apart. If you put enough pressure, it just pops. Of course, it makes it inconvenient if you snag your keys on something or your lanyard, you'll pop it off. But somebody can't grab that and pull you around with it. So have you ever seen police officers with ties on? Okay, certain events. Yeah, usually like memorial type things or dignitaries coming will wear ties. Our ties are all clip-ons. All right. So if somebody wants to grab something of us, and we have things that can be grabbed, but it's not a tie that's gonna. We're not going to be pulled around by the tie. They'll just pull that right off. It's not because we don't know how to tie ties. I had to.
You're on a tight budget.
What's that?
We're on a
Oh yeah. So wallets and purses. Think about what you're carrying with you right now, whether in your purse or in your wallet. What is important and what is just extra. I did take a report once from somebody who. Okay, so she went somewhere. She was going to go back into her house real quick, so she parked her car in front of her apartment. She was only in for a few minutes. I don't know what a few minutes meant. Somebody stole her purse from inside of her car because she forgot to lock her car. And this was in the middle of the day. And while I was taking the report and she was talking about everything that was inside of her purse, she explained to me that she had 8 credit cards in there. Okay. Why do you have 8 credit cards? But okay, why did you have 8 of them on you at that point in time? So what she did, so she had her 8 credit cards inside of her purse, and she had she had her Social Security card in there as well. And she happened to also use the last 4 of her Social Security as her PIN. And it didn't take the criminals very long to figure that one out because they stole a bunch of stuff. So between the time she went in her house and she finally reported it to her credit card companies, they had already gone to an ATM machine and stolen money out of multiple accounts because she had the same PIN number for multiple accounts. And it was all the last 4 of her Social Security. So don't leave your PIN number inside your wallet. So I have my work ID, which is also my key card access. I have, let's see, pharmacy card, medical card, my Costco card, of course. I have a credit card and a debit card. All right, so I always keep my credit card as an emergency. And then, of course, my driver's license, because we're all required to have this when we're driving our cars. All right, so this is all I carry. So if something were to happen, somebody were to steal my wallet, how many places do I need to call? All right. That young lady had eight places to call, and that's probably why they were able to have a little extra time to be able to steal those things, because she had to call all the different companies. Let's see. I got to put these back in my wallet the proper way. Because my ID is also my concealed weapons permit, so when I'm not in uniform, I actually have to show them this and my badge. All right. So think about what you're carrying in your purse. Is it necessary? It's not all necessary. Think about what's in there and take some of those out. My dad used to have, his wallet used to be this thick. Okay, mine's as thick as it is because I also have a metal badge in there. He didn't need all that stuff in there. Fanny pack, money belt. Money belt, if you're traveling and you have a lot of cash, think about just having a belt that it has a little zipper on the back that you can put the cash in. So if somebody steals your wallet, you still have the cash on you. Mugger money or chump change. Okay, so you're robbing me. Here's the money that I have. All right. So what can I give up without having to give up everything? Decoy wallet, so if you're traveling somewhere you think that there's high risk of crime occurring, could you have a wallet set up that you could give a robber and not have to give up your important stuff? Okay. Mental preparedness. So what can you do in different types of situations? So if you're a victim of a crime, what can you do? Can you comply with what they're doing? It depends. All right. You're robbing me, and all I have is a wallet on me, and you have a gun pointed at me. Okay. My wallet's not that important to me. All right.
Not compared to your life.
Yeah, absolutely. You can call attention to the situation. You know, what can you say or what can you do? I know there's other people in here. Normally I would yell something very loudly to catch your attention, but I don't want to disturb anybody else that's in here. So how loud can you get? I can get very loud. I can shock you by how loud I am. And it might only affect you for a small moment, but is that enough to make you go, okay, so what were you thinking before you went? Okay, so if somebody's trying to do something, they're trying to take something, they're trying to do something to you, and you yell at them right in their face. Now it gives you an opportunity to do something, whether it's attack that person or get away from that person. Trying to run from the situation. Can you run towards other people? Can you get away from that thing? Or can you fight? Do you know what you are capable of? A lot of people are not aware of what they're capable of. They've never had to be in a situation. They've never had to physically fight with somebody. I used to get in trouble as a kid because I used to with other kids. And when I was in school, I don't understand. So the kid that I used to fight with the most, we both got in trouble to the point where we couldn't go on field trips. So they left the two of us in the classroom by ourselves. But what can you do? All right, I'm a pretty big guy. I'm 6'1", 220 pounds. All right, I'm bigger than looks like most everybody in here. Right. You probably have a guess that I have some capabilities because of my profession. I don't know what you're capable of because I don't know what your past is or anything about that. But could you stop me from doing something? All right. I'm a person. I have weak points. So despite my training, my experience, my size, if you wanted to stop me, you could. All right. And then I have to worry about how I'm going to protect myself. But I'm attacking you for whatever reason. I'm a bad guy. I'm attacking you. All right. Now, I've got these things right here that are very sensitive. And if you decide to put some fingers in there, right, this thing right here, have you ever gotten bumped in the nose? Okay, think about this. Could you do this right against somebody's nose? That would hurt a lot. All right, right here. Okay, I have kids. I've been flailing around, whack right there, and right. Could you hit somebody right here, really hard? Right, or have you, maybe stretched a little bit first, but maybe one of these. Okay, if I'm struck in the groin, that will impact my behavior from there. But if you've never done that, if you've never processed through it mentally, and you've never practiced anything like that, it's going to be really difficult for you to be able to do that. So I tell everybody, try a self-defense class. See what you're capable of. If you're ever in that situation where you have to do something, you can do it. But you have to know that you can do it, and you have to at least have practiced it at some point in time. So we talk about self-defense classes, and they're typically brief, a few hours, something like that. And that's going to go for some some gross motor skills, some real basic kind of things. Okay, maybe try to hit somebody with your elbow, right? Go for that throw. But it's not something that you practice frequently. It's typically a one-time thing. Some people will go into a martial arts type situation where it's not really designed to attack somebody aggressively, but it gives you more skills on that you could use in different situations. So think about a self-defense class. If you ever just go online and look, and there's hundreds of them around town that you can go to. Most martial arts studios have at least a basic self-defense class. The one thing that I did like hearing, not that this young lady got attacked, but she had taken, and I don't even remember what city it was, it's just a couple months ago, but she had taken a self-defense class, and then later that week she was jogging in the park. She decided to use a public restroom out in the park. A man attacked her inside the bathroom. She clearly got a couple of good licks on him because you see in his mugshot, you can see the bruises on his face. She was bruised as well. But she hit him a few times, and they didn't explain what happened exactly. But in the stall, she actually got out of the bathroom. She used something to secure the door, and he was stuck inside the bathroom until the police got there. Oh. Wonderful. That's exactly what that's for. She defended herself. She got away. And then on top of that, she set it up so that the police could catch the guy after that. Perfect situation for her to get out of by learning how to do something. So you are the one that's going to have to determine what you're going to do based off of the situation, of course. Every situation is going to differ. And then what your ability is, so what you're going to do. What we do say is do not go in a car with somebody. All right. Colorado Springs, is there any areas close by that if somebody took you in a car, they could do something to you and nobody would ever see you again? You know, we've got a whole mountain range right here. Regrettably, you know, over time, there's bodies that we found up there, and can't say exactly what they were. I know, you know, we've had a taxi driver that was driven up there and killed up there, and then we've had other situations. So if somebody's to carjack you or they're trying to drag you into a car, get away from them, get away from the car. Give up your car if that's, you know, again, your personal safety versus the value of the car. Most people have insurance, and even my car that doesn't have, that I only have liability on, it's my personal welfare versus a couple $1,000 worth of car, and you know, I'll let the car go. So do what you can. What is a criminal going to do in a neighborhood downtown Colorado Springs versus what are they going to do up in the mountains? Physical awareness. What's around you? So if somebody's attacking me, could I grab something like this and hit them in the head with? I don't want to yank out wires. Oh, yeah. But could I reach back, grab something like this? Do I have something like this? And if I took this pen and stuck it right here on somebody as hard as I could, you know, how would that impact them? What resources do you have around you that you can use? What are your abilities versus your opponents? Again, somebody who may have some skills, what can you do? Basic things to protect yourself. You know, you're not going to square off with them. Okay, I'm going to take you. Maybe you. I don't know. Again, I don't know your skills. But we're not going to fight fair. If you're a criminal and you come and attack me, I'm not going to fight fair with you. I'm not going to square off and go, okay, let's fight. All right. I'm going to use some techniques, and if my techniques fail, I might knee you in the groin. All right. I might hit you in the throat. I might hit you in the nose. And am I using more force than I should? I'm not going to start out by hitting you in the face like that. All right. But if you're beating me, okay, I'm going to do what I need to beat you. You know, see what the opportunities you have. If you can't get away, be the best witness that you can. And it can be difficult because if I had somebody just walk in right now, one of my partners at work, walk through the room and then leave, the likelihood of you being able to clearly identify them is going to be difficult. Nowadays, one of the things that if you're off to the side and a situation's happening there, we get a lot of this. Okay. You know, the video footage, because that helps us. We have our body cameras, we have the cameras up on the poles, and we use a lot of video footage from people who bring it in and say, hey, I saw that, and here, look, here's the video right here. So that is very helpful for us as well.
Why don't they help? Like, I can't imagine standing there and taking a video versus picking up a rock and smacking something.
Again, it's what you're prepared for. You know, again, and some people are not willing to do things. It's hard for people to interact with others. It's hard for people to think about doing physical things. Some people don't believe in physical violence and are willing to sit on to the side and be a witness. It's up to you as to what you're going to do. What are you comfortable with? Again, what I'm comfortable with is going to be different than what it is for you. For example, my neighborhood. Outside of the core downtown area, I had somebody in a big, gigantic RV pull across the street from me one night. I saw them moving around, and I thought, it's kind of a junky RV. Well, anyway, it could be the neighbor's kids just coming to visit. So it stays overnight. So the next morning, I'm out there working on my bicycle, and I notice all the windows are open, there's a light breeze, and then I start noticing there's talking in there. They're not just visiting, they're staying in there. So finally I go over and I knock on it. Like, hey, are you visiting somebody here? yeah, my mom lives on, okay, that's a couple blocks over. I said, you can visit people here, but if you're staying overnight, that is illegal. Right? If you're here tonight, I'm calling the police, and I'm going to have them talk to you. Right? 3 minutes later, boom, and it drives away. Okay, would everybody feel comfortable just walking to an RV? I couldn't see anybody. Knocking on the thing and talking to them, and then saying, "Hey, I'm calling the police. You better beat it." Right? Not everybody's comfortable with that, and that's fine. If you have to call, 444-7000 and say, "Hey, these people are camping in this neighborhood in an RV," then that's what you can do. All right? So what abilities do you have, and how prepared are you? All right. So personal protective devices. So this right here, this is a personal alarm. So if you pull this little pin out, it makes this really loud screeching sound, and it will draw people's attention because they are horrendously loud. So these are good to have if you want somebody to have people's attention drawn to you. Tear gas, pepper spray. So with tear gas, I can't go back. Anyway, tear gas isn't as common. Pepper spray is very common. You can go to a big box store, sporting goods store, gun store, and you can buy pepper spray. Very effective. I got sprayed in the academy. That was part of our thing. Very unpleasant. Very unpleasant. I actually volunteered to do it again as an instructor for that. I wasn't thinking because they say, yeah, you have to get sprayed again. 99.5% of the population is affected to the point where it's difficult for them to do things. There are some people out there that can handle pepper spray to the face. I had one classmate that it didn't seem like it affected him at all. Afterwards, he said, yeah, it hurt, but he was still able to focus on things. Hopefully they never show you the video footage. After I get sprayed, we had to punch a bag before we went to something else. Oh, I saw that. It was so ridiculous. Oh. No techniques at all there. So it's something very simple, very inexpensive. I think it's great to have. I have it at home as well because I keep my gun in a safe. I have children, so I don't want them to have access to that. If they spray each other with pepper spray, I'll feel really kind of bad for them. Other things, you have batons. These things are actually illegal to carry unless you're using it specifically for martial arts and you're transporting it. The batons are all legal here in Colorado. I don't recommend those at all unless you train with them regularly and you are very familiar with them. Yes, sir.
Which did you say is legal and illegal? I'm
These,
sorry.
the batons are legal. They're basically sticks, but these, we call them PR-24s. It's a brand. Monadnock is a company that makes them. But again, generally speaking, even, I've seen people with little, different types of sticks, small bats, things like that. How proficient are you with that? Do you train with those things? Could you really use it effectively? If somebody were to grab that, what would you do? Have you trained to pull that away from somebody? We have these. Actually, we have both now. I still have the old one because they told me I could get the straight one, but I'd have to pay for it. I was like, but it takes a lot of training. So I'm actually a PR-24 instructor, and today I cannot go grab my PR-24 and use it as effectively as I could a couple of years ago when I was training with it regularly. Stun guns, those are the ones that are, they're probably about that size. They have the little pointy things on them, and what it is an electrical arc. And if you put it against somebody, it causes pain. So you're trying to modify somebody's behavior by causing pain. I don't know if those are used a whole lot.
Are they effective, or is pepper spray more effective? Because pepper spray, you can be away.
Right.
A stun gun, don't you have to be close?
You actually have to physically touch the stun gun to them. Pepper spray, well, you have to be 18 inches away because the irritant and the propellant have to separate. So if you go up to somebody like this and spray them right in the face with pepper spray, it's not going to be very effective because it's all going to goop together. It's the irritant and the propellant just going to ooze down. But if you're 18 inches away, it actually starts to separate, and that's when it's basically cayenne pepper. That's when it gets into the breathing and the eyes. And we say, go for a triangle, upside down triangle. You want the eyes, the mouth, and then the nose on the inside there, and that you get the whole thing.
I carry bear spray.
It's
Basically because I don't want to buy it.
That is pepper.
yeah, it's the same thing.
Right. But
It's
you-
a larger.
30-foot reach with bear spray versus.
Oh, it's still no standard pepper spray is probably still 12, 15 feet. It's pretty effective, but I think generally speaking.
I just have bear spray because I hike. I don't want to
Oh,
go
there you
buy pepper spray too.
It's the same thing. It's just that this is this is a handheld, and this is actually this person has a small hand, or that's a big container. And, they're very small. They're very easy to carry. If you're going to carry it though, and you want to protect yourself with it, this is the place that you want to have it, not inside your purse. And then know how to use it. So you go buy one, or you go buy a pair of them, and you go outside and you spray it. Make sure you're upwind. Or you can buy a pair that has an inert canister with it, which means it's just propellant and water. It's just so you can see, oh, I can spray over her. I can get her without actually spraying her with pepper spray. Unless you want to know what the effect of pepper spray is against you. So, generally speaking, I would say that the liability is lower with this compared to some of the other things because this is designed to cause pain and not injury. So, somebody comes after me, I spray them, and oops, that wasn't the person I wanted to spray. Now, I caused them pain, but it's not going to cause injury unless they're allergic specifically to cayenne pepper, which I worked with one officer who was actually allergic to cayenne.
So no matter what your mother-in-law says, it was not on purpose.
Yes, it was not on purpose. My intention was. Tasers are very effective. We carry tasers. I don't have mine on me right now, but they're expensive. So can of pepper spray, $10, $12. Taser, $350. And they're actually designed only for one-time use, really. So you're my bad guy. I shoot you with the. She's the bad guy, so I shoot her with the taser, and then I set it down. So it actually is designed to go. I believe it's 30 seconds. So that gives me a 30-second head start on you. Right? Ours only go for 5 seconds, but ours is to control somebody, not for us to get away after 30 seconds. I can keep doing it for 5 seconds. So you're still not complying. 5 more, because she's the bad guy. 5 more seconds. 5 more seconds. However that goes. I don't think I've ever used mine on somebody more than the first 5 seconds. Other things, sometimes things that are just laying around. So you're in your kitchen, and somebody breaks into your house and they attack you. You take your lemon juice and you spray it across their eyes. Would that be effective? You're working in your yard. You have hornet spray, and you're spraying up there, and they're coming after you. You spray it in their face. Could that be? What's close at hand? Whistles. Actually, on my other things, I still have mine. That catches people's attention. So when you hear a whistle, people actually pay attention to that more likely than, say, a car alarm. Could I use my keys against somebody? Could I cause somebody pain with that? I've heard people talk about, putting it between your fingers so that you can use it in a scratch across somebody's face, something like that. I've heard that it can cause you pain and injury in between your fingers because it's pushing back on you as well. But again, if you're going to use that, why are you using that? To protect yourself? Are you willing to take some pain in the hand to protect yourself from something else? Could you do that? Or any other common objects at hand. Of course, if you're in your kitchen, and somebody comes after you, what do you have in your hand? All right, so firearms in general, here's a bunch of the law. You can, of course, we have our Make My Day law, which really basically is, this is my home right here. You have illegally entered my home, so you kick in a door. I can use up to and including deadly force, so I could shoot somebody if I believe that they're going to commit another crime while inside my home. Right? So if somebody's kicking in your door, breaking out a window to come into your home, what is their intention? You have to make that decision what their intention is. Is it to commit another crime or is it not? It seems like it's a simple answer to me, but we're all different. So inside your home, you can do that. If somebody's banging on your door and you believe that they're going to commit a crime, you're not covered in the same way because they're not inside your home. We've had cases in Colorado Springs, where somebody shot somebody through the door and they were not charged criminally. I do not know what the civil issues were with that. You could probably look it up online to see what happened. So if somebody's trying to break into my house, me personally, I'd probably sit inside my house. I'd go get my gun, and I would wait until they actually broke into my house before I used deadly force against them. All right? But that's me personally. Pepper spray, again, that's good. Pepper spray, going back to that, it does have an expiration. You should replace it after that expiration. Basically, if you believe that somebody's going to commit serious bodily injury or cause death to you, you can use deadly force in those situations, including carrying, if you're using a gun. Here's the Make My Day law, the use of deadly physical force against an intruder.
What's considered your dwelling? Hasn't there been a case recently where somebody shot somebody in their garage?
Yes. So I don't believe that fell into their dwelling. I don't think that person was charged criminally, but I do believe that there was a civil lawsuit against that person. So here in Colorado, so I have a house with a garage, an attached garage that goes into my house. If somebody were to break into my garage, that is actually falls into my home. They've committed a burglary going into my. So when you see somebody goes in, if you think, oh, they go in, they steal a bicycle, they have entered your home and they have committed a burglary by doing that, even if it's an open garage. I think that the incident you're talking about, it was a detached garage.
Yeah, it was.
So, let's see. You can't carry a concealed weapon, or you can carry a concealed weapon with a permit. You can keep it open carry without a permit. So, if I was just, not a police officer, I could throw my gun on my hip. I could walk down. I could, put my shotgun on its strap, and I could walk down Tejon right this afternoon. And people do it. We're not going to do much about it because it is their legal right to do that. It's your legal right if you choose to do those types of things. I do know that City of Denver has some other laws. So if you are a gun carrying person, look at their laws before you go to Denver.
Do we have to allow them to carry into this building? And I'll get to you in just a second, sir. So, it is illegal to carry a gun into a school and certain governmental facilities, certain ones. So I could charge somebody with having a gun inside of a school. Now, I don't believe that you're one of those facilities, so if somebody were to walk in with a gun, it is not illegal for them to carry a gun. Now, if your policy is that they are not to have guns in here, you even post it out there, and they walk in and you go, sir, you're not allowed to have guns inside here. We're going to have to ask you to leave. And they say, it is my right to carry a gun. I am not leaving. You've asked them to leave. Now they are trespassing. They have committed a crime at that point in time, but it has nothing to do with the gun. It has to do with your organization having a policy. You're not allowed to smoke in here. You need to leave. I'm not leaving. Okay, that's trespassing. So that's where the issue comes at that point. You don't have to allow them, but the organization has to have rules for that. It has to be clearly stated to somebody, and then you have to say you have to leave, and, or you can go take your gun, and then you can come back. But again, that's
the second to the bottom in your friend's home, and I'm pretty surprised that I would be legal to shoot somebody else if I'm in somebody else's home. So
I will bump this up from hurt to
Attack or assault or.
Yeah, a fear of serious bodily injury or death. So, but that would be the same as if you were to throw your gun on your hip and you're walking down the street right here, and somebody's taking a rock and hitting somebody in the head, and you go up and you go boom and you shoot that person. Okay, why did you shoot that person? I believe that that person using a weapon was trying to kill that person on the ground. Right.
That's not what that statement says. That statement says threatens. And so, I'm in somebody else's home, the intruder threatens my friend, and this says I have permission, I have legality to shoot that person. I'm just simply surprised that I could not have some legal consequences.
Okay, so going back to, and here's the statute right here. So here's the wording. So I'll let you read that wording right there and then interpret that for, and I'll tell you, I'm a police officer and I've arrested people based off of statutes. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to be able to go into court and argue the wording specifically, but generally speaking.
Occupant, does that just mean a visitor though? No? Or does that mean an actual rent-paying, home-owning person?
So I'm inside my friend's home. I am legally there,
Right.
and somebody enters the home illegally, and it goes back to the other one. And I'm sitting here. I believe that they're going to commit a crime, and it falls back to that first one back here. No, that's the person. Intruder. Okay, so a person enters, but they're doing it illegally. So it's not me and my friend are sitting here, and now he has come in to have a beer with us, and he then says, I'm going to kick her butt. I can now shoot her. It falls into the same. He kicked in the door. Or it wasn't even, the door was wide open. They're walking in. They were never welcomed into the home. And then, of course, the way the laws are, it varies, because now we're friends, and he used to be our friend. Now he walks in, and what's the circumstance? So you have to think, really, it's somebody is coming into the home who's not welcome, and they're going to commit another crime. And usually it's a stranger when we're talking about that. Because could it fall into the question whether he had the right to be there or not, or have the right to be there? That's going to change everything right there. All right. And that is the last thing I have there. So if anybody has any other questions, yes, ma'am.
Solicitors,
Shoot him.
No. It's probably not as severe as someone doing physical harm, but there's been occurrences of out-of-state cars soliciting in neighborhoods, and let's say you have a homeowners association that is just running neighborhood. Would a policeman respond if the community did not have a no solicitation?
So
Like the house did.
right, like so in my home, I have a sign on the door that says no soliciting. And it's a small sticker. I bought it from a hardware store. So I have basically already said to somebody, I don't want you here on my property. But of course they don't pay attention to that anyway. And I have people come up to my door and they knock on my door and I open it and, hey, would you be interested in some carpet cleaner? No, thank you. Right. They continue to talk. You need to go. It's the trespassing stuff. So technically, I've already indicated that if you are a solicitor, I am not interested in having you here because I have my no soliciting sign, and somebody selling carpet cleaner stuff has already violated the trespassing because they now know that they're not welcome, and they've proceeded anyway. Will we respond? Probably eventually. If you call us up 444-7000 after your wait on there and as soon as the officer's available. Yes, we can go out there, and if we find the person, we can actually cite them for trespassing.
Is there any benefit though for the association as opposed to community?
I would say yes, because I noticed almost immediately, because when my house was built, it was in a pretty new neighborhood. I put that little sticker on my door, not very big, and it went from, a solicitor twice a week to once a month. It still bugs me, but and I'm not going to call, for them to come out because that person was there. But I do pay attention to who's around, and if I see suspicious vehicles associated with them, me personally, I'll go out and I just take pictures of the license plate. I've got yelled at, like, you can't do that. Yeah, I can. All right. So, and I'll even go up, and me personally, I've gone up to people parked, just sitting in the car, and very unusual for somebody to park where I'm at. I'm not next to a park or a business or school or anything like that. I'll go up to them and I say, hey, can I help you with somebody or something? Are you looking for somebody in the neighborhood? I'm pretty familiar with my neighbors. Who are you looking for? Right? Maybe they're just on their lunch break and just hanging out. And oh no, I'm just whatever. But now they know that I've looked at them. And I paid attention to them. I saw their car. I was close enough to their car to get their license plate number. If they're a burglar, if they're a criminal of some sort, maybe they think, I'll go to the next neighborhood where people aren't paying attention. So anything that you put out there, whether it's awareness of what's going on around you, signage, I think it helps. Again, the no soliciting sign helped me, sticker thing helped me quite a bit. Yes.
So I am probably the least safety conscious person you could probably ever be. I didn't even have locks on my doors until March of this year, March 15th. And I only have locks on my doors because somebody else put them there, and they're self-locking, and you have to key in a code to get in the house. I mean, really, no safety awareness. Don't even really care. But most recently, I ride my bike a lot, as you know, and I ride on the bike path and on isolated roads and stuff. The bike path has become a really scary place for me recently, and I don't know why, because it takes a lot to scare me. But I just have this creepy feeling sometimes. What can I do to be safer? Because I feel real vulnerable. Once if I get pushed over, it takes a few minutes for me to get my bearings and get back on my feet.
Well, and again, then it goes back to how can you protect yourself? And going back to maybe a self-defense class, having pepper spray handy. So, of course, I ride my bike a lot too. And I actually don't carry anything currently, and I put a lot of miles on this trail system. But I've actually thought, okay, let's see, if I got the right pouch, I could put a pepper spray canister right here. Of course, I also have a small gun that's about this big. And I thought, okay, could I put that, how could I carry that? Because, there's things that, I just don't feel as comfortable with as I used to be. But, what could you do to protect yourself? That's something that you have to think about. How easily could you carry something like that? If you had pepper spray, would that make you feel better if you had it attached to your thing, or you had it right here attached, or right here in the pocket where you know that you could get to it quickly and do something? Or if there's a whole group, and I've had it where I've had it almost like a homeless camp on the trail. I was over here riding from the station. I went down underneath the tunnel there by Walmart towards Bear Creek Park, and it was wall to wall, people just in a big circle. I ride a fat tire bike. I ended up riding up onto the edge, and I almost ran a guy over, but I wasn't stopping for their little gathering. So they moved pretty quickly as soon as I started rolling by them, because they figured out that I wasn't stopping. But what would I have done if they tried to get in my way? Of course, I would have hit them first. Again, big guy moving pretty fast. And I don't care that there's 6 people in there. I'll start swinging. I'm taking people down quickly. But that's me, and that's in my mind. I've already thought about that. I don't have any kind of weapon on me at that point in time. I know what I'm going to do, but what can you do? You have to think about that, and you have to understand what the best reaction for you would be. And again, something like pepper spray, and I've even thought about it. Where on the strap am I going to put that? So you had a question?
I just had a comment. I walk and I hike both a lot. And I think the thing you can do the most for yourself is to not have it going on your head, in front of your face all the
Yeah.
time, and not have something in your ears, and continually look around you.
Right. So
Because you
where?
hear things and you see things, and you immediately notice and you think that it's out of place.
Awareness of your surroundings is very important, and I will say, so I am guilty of this. I do listen to music, but I only have one earphone in, and I can actually hear out the other. I get the hand-me-downs from my kids, so the earphones. So usually when they break one, it's like, this side's not working anymore. I actually cut that side off, and I only keep one. So I can't even put a second earphone in on mine, just because I know I want to be able to hear things that are going on around me, be aware of that. So it's not good to have those in there, and probably this isn't the best, but I ride 2 hours a day to and from work. Oh, that's a long ride without being able to listen to my tunes. All right, and if you have any other questions, I know we've gone quite a bit over normal there. I'll be sticking around if you have any individual questions. All right, thank you.